All right. If you are looking to start your own business or a personal brand and it's something that has been weighing on your heart, but you haven't imagined how you would even begin, it just feels like such a daunting experience. And, your circumstances, maybe you're asking yourself, do I have enough to start a business or to start a brand? And you're just still stagnant, wondering what the next move is for you. Today's episode will encourage you because I'm so thrilled, I'm so excited because who I have on today is a guest who has actually been in my life for the last 2 years. Her name is Christine, and I will let her do her own introduction. But here's what I'll tell you before she is able to do that introduction, that she is a seasoned interior designer who has worked up her way to get her dream to accomplishment. She's decided, you know what, I don't want this to just be a passion. I want it to become a business, something that is profitable. She has always loved everything to do with houses and beautiful furniture pieces. And that is how we met because she found my page and loved everything that my page was all about and decided to join my 2022 November interior design masterclass. She's also a midwife and she's a humanitarian. And she has two beautiful girls. And, this is just this icing on the cake. I just want you to know everything that is within the cake that this young lady has been brewing behind the scenes. She's amazing. I'm so thrilled to have her. Please help me welcome her with a like. And if you're not subscribed, you want to do that right now because I'll be bringing you more amazing people such as Christine. Christine, please take it away and welcome so much to Impact on Social. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Christine, my namesake. I'm so happy to be here today. Of course, I'm surprised it has been 2 years already. I didn't know it has been that long, but I'm glad that we are having this talk today. And I'm an interior designer, as you mentioned. I always had the dream of being an interior designer from a very long time ago. I loved houses, I loved design, I loved anything beautiful in a house. Like if somebody was to speak, I would not look at the person, I would look at the things around that person. That's how I knew I really, really loved interior design. So my journey didn't start there exactly. I wanted to do interior design, but at the time I didn't have people I could look up to. So I ended up doing nursing, midwifery, and humanitarian work. Of course, at the time, I did it to my level best because that's what I had at the time. But at the back of my mind, I knew I'm going to go back to my first love, which is interior design. And finally, I got to be there. And as you said, my two daughters are my reason for living, my reason for living my purpose. So that
Yes.
one day, if since I'm on my path, they will also have the confidence to find their own and live their purpose. Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely inspiring. I love that. And isn't it nice how, I always say that God has this funny way of giving us a bigger purpose even as we step into our 30s. I don't know when you had your kids, but even if it's in your late 20s, like after you've done life, umecheza, umedance, you've had a good time, and you're really wondering what is next. For me, I remember having that sort of quarter life crisis. And then
Mhm.
when you have your child, it's like, oh my gosh, no, I have to be here for the next 50 years. I mean, who's going to to be standing in my place during this child's graduation? Your perspective
Yeah.
shifts and you have a bigger purpose, a bigger reason to hustle, a bigger reason to want to do that thing that you've probably set on the back burner. So I'm really glad that to hear that your kids are your inspiration, because for me, my daughter is also the same for me. So
Oh, that's
I
nice.
love that. So tell me, what
Mhm.
when you were doing? We can just start from from the beginning. When you started midwifery,
Mhm.
like how did that come about for you? Like when you decided, this is what I want to go for in for school. I mean, for school. I want to go for midwifery in school. How did that come about? Was it because you either saw, some kind of, a need there, or was it for you? Was it, what I'm going to have job security with this? What was it that led you there?
So it's so funny that when I asked my high school classmates, apparently all of them saw me as a midwife because I used to be the clean person, the perfectionist. Like everything I would be given at the time, I would do it to perfection. But I did not see that. I never thought of myself as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow my family felt I needed to do nursing, go to the States and start my career there. Yet it has never been in me, honestly. But since at
Yes.
that time, you're asked, are you the one, okay, like, are you the one who's going to pay the school fees, or are we the ones to pay the school fees? Because I didn't have someone who I was looking up to, and they had never seen any interior design at the time. So
Yes.
I had to choose and do midwifery, because I always believe that you're always at the best place you're supposed to be at that time. So I told myself at this time, there must be a reason why God wants me to be a midwife. I'll do my best as I
Mm-hmm.
find my way to my dream. So that's how I went into midwifery.
Oh my gosh, awesome. I think that there's always a calling, and the funny thing is, there's nothing like I made a wrong turn, or oh, I wish I didn't do this. Like I always say, all these experiences have led us to where we are right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's so
for sure.
interesting because even for me, I've done so many different things that have mostly to do with working with other people in customer service, because I've been a flight attendant, I've
Mm,
worked for banks, I've worked for insurance companies, and to be now a solo entrepreneur, working for myself, building my own personal brand, it's like, oh, was I wasting time doing this and that? But no, the
no.
midwifery and
Mm,
everything else that you've done in the past has accumulated all those different experiences for you, leading up to this. So
yeah.
that's great. That's a good background. Could you just maybe tell us a little bit as well about, just in in a minute, you could just tell us about growing up, what that was like for you? Was there a parent or any sort of authoritative figure that you saw what they did that inspired you? And was there someone in your life that you were like, oh, I kind of like what this person does for a living? Or was there a show? Because sometimes it's even a show on TV or something that we saw, not necessarily someone who was doing a particular job, that led
Mm,
you to be, oh my God, I think I'm into interior design. Something, it could even be like a place you went and it just sparked a passion in you, and you were like, if there's any way that one day in life I could do this.
mhm,
But then, even though you set that as a, on the back burner and you didn't pursue it at the time,
mhm.
could you remember a time when that passion growing
Mhm.
up was ignited for interior design?
No, I just remember that I have always loved color. I've
Mm-hmm.
always loved nice things. So like yani, the only memory I have is of me looking at things and taking a lot of time to study the design, how it was made, why. Like I've always wanted to know more about everything around me.
Yes.
That's what I can say. Yeah. It's not that
Awesome.
I went to a particular place, but I just feel like every time, even at home, I always would rearrange the living room, the bedroom. I was always arranging things, and I would always want things in a certain way and keep on correcting the lines that are not straight. So that's all I remember.
Yes. Oh my
Mm,
gosh. All right. So then let's now jump fast forward, because I
mm,
think there's a lot that I can relate with you when it comes to the rearranging. In fact, I watched a movie once, Christine,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
they were talking about how they were doing a game on the movie. It was like
Mhm,
a game night, and they were talking about, like, one person picked a card, and
mm,
I can't really truly remember the details, but what I remember was that it had the card the person picked made
mhm,
the host of the game say the reason why
mhm,
you like, it was more like, you're never settled, you're never ever nimetosheka, like you're never
Mm.
satisfied. That is why you
Yeah.
constantly love rearranging things. I can't really remember
Oh,
what the person was, but I remember thinking introspectively about that and wondering, is that is that a thing? Because the number of times I move the couch around in my own house.
me too. I'm
Oh
always
my
thinking
god.
of something new to do, something
Yeah,
new.
yeah. And the funny thing is, maybe by the time I move it the seventh time, I'm like, finally, this is where it's always meant to be. Like where I
Yeah.
have it right now, I'm like, but I've had to move it.
And it's so funny because for me, even right now, when I see a TV program, like
Yes,
right now, I'm currently watching Selling the OC.
yes.
Every time they're talking, I'm there looking at the office space, how they've designed it, the lights, the
Yes.
flooring. Like for me, I don't even listen to their stories. I'm looking at everything else around them.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way because sometimes people will ask, like, why are you even interested in that show? Like, for instance, The Real Housewives. Like, I'm watching
Yeah,
also, I also watch the OC just because, but that one it's at least that one makes sense because it's a real
yeah,
estate. Those are real
yeah,
realtors. Those are all real estate agents selling
yeah.
homes. So
Mhm.
you pick up a lot of cues from watching such a show. So it's in line with what you do. The time when it's weird is when you're watching something like Housewives and you're like, I'm drawing inspiration, when someone else might be like, because someone might be like,
They can't
why
take it.
you love drama? Why are you always watching people fighting and being all catty? But in your mind, oh my God, you have no idea. I'm looking at Nini's house. I'm looking at this Osha's
Yeah.
house.
The restaurants they go to, like there's so much you can get.
I know, like there's a Netflix show I've watched over and over again,
Mhm.
Designing Miami, and
Oh, I love designing
I know,
Miami.
I keep waiting for the second season, and I'm like,
It's never coming.
yes, it's like, oh, it's not coming.
I don't think
Oh,
so. It has been too long. It has been
it's
too
been so
long.
long, and I keep
Yeah.
wondering, is it that the show wasn't a success? Because why didn't they put out a second season? Because I just love watching how they design, and so many other
Yeah.
shows we talk about on and on about. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, I
Mhm.
find that I am quite. I also have drawn a lot of inspiration from other interior designers in the past, and
Mhm.
I remember the very first time I knew in my heart that I want to start YouTube and I want to do home makeovers was because of Rebecca Robison's channel. I don't know if you know Rebecca
Mhm.
Robison. And I
Yeah.
remember even my first intro was like Rebecca's intro back in 2000 and when I started YouTube was 2016. So my first
Mhm.
introduction was like, have you wanted to flip your home? And I was even trying to talk like her. I was just so, it took a while to find my own voice, but that is how much I was inspired by seeing another interior designer. And I think what inspired me the most about Rebecca Robinson is that she's accumulated so much success. She's
Yeah.
started doing, just home makeovers with rental spaces. I think with her own home, she was doing like Christmas decorations and then started putting that out on YouTube. People started picking it
Mhm.
up, wanting to hire her. And then to this date, obviously, she has had tremendous success. She's done hotels and very big developments. Her brand just keeps growing to the extent where her daughter Shara, for me, I'm an OG. You can tell I know these people,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
You know
whole
the
family.
whole.
Her daughter also started her own channel, and I've
Mhm.
followed her from when she was like in college days to now she's married, she has a kid, and she also has a very successful YouTube channel. If anyone
Mhm.
knows who I'm talking about, it is Shara Robinson. I think I don't remember her last name now because she got married. And so anyway, that is where I drew my inspiration. So we were talking about inspiration and where it could be that you began seeing this within you. But turns out, friends who've known me for ages, now that I
Mhm.
do this, say, but you've always been like this, Christine. Every time you come to someone's house, you're always like, you could move that piece of art over there, or I don't know if it's working for this wall. I think we should just get rid of it. Maybe we can just put it like a friend of mine, even we did a podcast together. Alex said, you literally would take some, some pieces of art I had, and you are like, let's put this under your bed. I'll get you something. The next time I come, I'll come with a gift, So, talking about that, we discovered each other on Instagram. You found me,
Yeah.
so maybe you can tell us where you are in your journey, interior design wise. And now that we've started talking about interior design, and we know everyone who's watching is probably an enthusiast. And even if you're not, keep watching, because there's gonna be so many gems about building a business and a brand, especially through social media. So, Christine, tell us about when you discovered my page and what it is you were looking for, or what could have led you to decide, you know what, I want to send a message.
So I think by the time I discovered you, I had decided to do interior design full time, because I feel like I had been doing it on the side for far too long. And at that point, I had decided now I'm going to really, really go into interior design. So when I surprisingly, like, I feel like, there's this book called the what monk? The monk who sold his car. He keeps on saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will always appear. So that day when I opened Instagram, I just saw you talking about interior design, and what captured my eye was the fact that you mentioned that you're big on purpose. I've always been big on purpose. And
Yes.
simply because you mentioned the word purpose, I signed up for your class. I didn't care about the rest because
Wow.
you had spoken about interior design, which is what I wanted to do. But the biggest thing is you really believed in purpose, which is what I live for. So that's how I discovered you, and I've never regretted it.
Oh my gosh. I just want to know a little bit more about that bit about purpose. You know, you're big on it. Maybe just
Mhm.
expound on it. Why that matters why that matters so much to you.
For me, I feel like all of us were brought into this world for a reason. I feel like there's no one who is a mistake, and that there's a reason why you wake up every day. So for me, I always wonder, like, what legacy do I want to leave behind for myself, for my kids, for my children's children? To me, my purpose is the inheritance I want to leave to my children and children's children.
Mhm.
That they'll really want to be better, get to know God, get to grow and discover Him for themselves. So purpose for me is, I feel like if I don't have purpose in this world, why should I be here? Yeah.
Wow, wow.
Mm.
You know, because I love that, because the legacy that we leave behind. It's so interesting because I watch Sean Cannell's channel, Think Media. Every day I have to watch a podcast from that channel, because I'm in the process of wanting to build my own personal brand on YouTube so much, but really a
Mm.
lot of it has to do with purpose as well. The way I understand purpose as well, it has to do with um, Romans 8:28.
Mhm.
That all things work for good for those who love God and are called according to His purpose,
Mhm.
and that there's beyond our own thoughts or go of our goals or strategy, that there's a purpose that also God has for your life, that we don't always know until sometimes it could, the way that message is relayed is through a whisper, like,
Mhm.
oh, this is your purpose. Or
Yeah.
sometimes it could be a slap, something that catches your attention, like, oh my God, where did that come from?
Mhm.
Um, so for you, how did you get to that point where you felt, you know what, my purpose has to do with what inheritance or legacy I leave behind for my two girls?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
was it was it something that you feel, for you, was there a lot or maybe lacked? Was that, is that part of the reason why you feel I really want to make sure that I do this, whether it is differently or in continuation of.
Yeah,
And
I feel
that's a
like,
deep question. How do you?
but I feel like I really, really struggled for a very long time with self-awareness.
Mhm.
And I've had to, I think at first I thought it was confidence, but I realized it was like a wall, a protective wall I used to have when I'm loud and out there and speaking. But deep down, I was scared and just looking for that protection. And it's because I didn't really believe in who I was. I didn't have that self awareness. So I've always been big on women empowerment. And
Mm.
I always believe that there are so many things, like women go through a lot of trauma growing up during in all the life experiences that we experience every day, plus the unhealed trauma from our childhood.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you feel like you have that imposter syndrome, you really do not believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So I've had to really, really work on myself to get to where I am.
Well, you've
So
done a great job. I could
I
not
truly
tell.
believe, I truly believe like every woman needs to have that self-awareness. Every woman needs to have financial freedom. Every
Mhm.
woman needs to live their life fully. And especially, I think maybe for me, it's more strong because I have two girls. And I
Yes.
really want them to live.
Emulate. Mhm.
Yeah, and I relate all that. Yeah. Mm.
Oh, I think that's just brilliant. So in doing that, I think that's what led you to now deciding, you know what, I love what Coach Chris is talking about in terms of purpose, because I don't remember too much about that live. All I
Mm.
remember is I knew for sure that your purpose has to do with also the thing that you're passionate about, because you do not gift yourself, Christine.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do not
for
give
sure.
yourself these ideas. And
Mm.
it is not strange that we are all gifted differently. It is
Yeah.
all in purpose with with God's purpose. Because I remember Genesis, the other day I was watching an episode on a podcast, and we're just flowing, guys. So if you are watching, please subscribe, like, and also comment and tell us what you're thinking. Are you enjoying this conversation? Because entrepreneurs don't just pop up, they also have a story, and most of the time there's a lot that has led to them getting to this point where they are deciding, I want to build a business for myself. A motivation could be money, could be income, but you will be surprised when you really talk to these entrepreneurs to realize that that motivation isn't always just about income. Sometimes it's leaving a legacy, like Christine is talking about here.
Mhm.
It's about wanting someone who is behind you to see that it's possible for women to feel this level of empowerment, that they can actually build empires, and that person usually is your children. What they see you grow, that's how sometimes they end up, growing up, and the women that they become. So entrepreneurship is motivated by so many things, but a lot of it has to do with purpose and passion. And the reason why I talk about passion and purpose, and I love to intertwine those two, is because the gift that you already feel you have, for instance, in this case, interior design, you love seeing spaces that come up and become, beautiful, and you love that. There's something about that that will serve someone else,
Yeah.
and it might not look like it in the beginning, but I know for sure the times when the first time a client shed tears because of a transformation for her space, I remember that was the moment I realized this has to do with my passion, my
Mm.
purpose. Because just seeing that level of reaction, just realizing that, wow, it could be that to me, it might be the simplest thing because maybe I'm gifted in that way. But just
Yeah.
seeing how this person is so like, oh my God, like I feel so calm in this house. I love this place. It makes me feel peaceful. Just seeing the way they feel order, like the place has become more orderly. That for me, another time when I felt that this was intertwined with purpose was when I started my coaching program, and just seeing other students coming and saying, I love how I feel now that I'm feeling disempowered to start my own business, and I'm so grateful for that. So I'm glad that you called, Christine. I'm so happy that you actually picked up the phone and decided to join my interior design and decor masterclass. So we're just going to show an outline of what that looked like. And while Christine tells us how her business has transformed, whether she was actually running interior design as a business prior to taking the class, or if that happened after the class, and if so, what's different? What a question, eh?
It's taking me back to the high school questions.
Yes.
Describe, explain.
Yeah,
But anyway,
all of that.
I had started my business at the time I was joining. It's
Mhm.
only that as you say, like I think you brought order into my life and into my business,
Mhm.
because I was running it out of like the way we just go by life, not knowing exactly how to do things. But like for me, I always say the hardest bit is starting. So I think I was at that part. I had just started.
Yes.
So I was just navigating through guesswork. And then
Mhm.
when I got to know you, of course, I became more professional in terms of how I dealt with clients, in terms of how I charged my services, in terms of how I marketed myself. And I
Yes.
feel like I got 10 times better after the
Wow.
class.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. And so we're just going to show you a little bit of an outline of my interior design and decor master class, and what you can expect when you actually join the class. So it is actually a 4-week cohort that we run through Zoom. There's video material, there's also PDFs. We have a community group on Facebook where students get to ask questions, and sometimes it's another student who answers that question, as well as the entrepreneurs who've already started their own business as a result of having enrolled in the interior design and decor masterclass. So it's just a place where we support each other. We have other designers there also who have included a product to their business, such as decor, curtains, or even some home hardware. And rather than going and supporting a business we don't know, we also try to support each other within the group. So if if anyone in the community say decides today I want to start excuse me, wants to start a candle business, we actually support them, and we try to follow each other's pages. We try to subscribe to each other's Instagram and TikTok channels, and even be the first ones to help each other with commenting and things like that. So it's just a really nice community that I'm building. It's still not, it's still in the works. We have a few people in there, and we are still trying to get more of the students who've been there from the past to now join the community. And what you can expect to learn in this course is I have it on 3 levels. So the first one is you gain that interior design skill. So that is, how do I even make this space? I know I love designing, but I might not be quite certain about the kind of colors I should do, the kind of interior finishes I should pick up. So in this first level, we actually have about 6 of the modules. The whole course is 10 modules. So the modules that will be in this gaining interior design skill is how to become how to learn the fundamentals of interior design, that is the principles, the elements, and that's really like your checklist, because every time you go into a space, you wonder, okay, you have to ask yourself, okay, Checklist number one is emphasis. All right, that's going to be my wall of emphasis. I can make that the feature wall, the TV wall, and so on and so forth. There's some elements as well, such as color, space, pattern. Have I included some texture? Have I included some color? Have I, how have I mixed it up? We have the 60-30 rule, 60-30-10 rule, which is 60% of the space where you want it to feel neutral, where you have your grays, your beiges, your whites, and then you have that 30% you can play around with pops of color. You can choose a warm and a cool color, so like an orange and a blue, and then that 10% you kind of want it to be like the pop. It could be a piece of, some gold, or, it could be through your chandelier, the lamp, the hardware you have on your cabinets, and so on and so forth. So that's fundamentals of interior design. Then we learn space planning, which is even how do you go to a consultation with a client, and, the kind of questions you should ask them. Then we move on to creating our first mood board. The psychology of color as well is our fourth module. We have interior finishes as module number 5. We have decorative textiles and fabrics, where we learn everything about fabrics, curtains, the fabric on the sofas, and the fabric on the dining. Should you pick a linen cloth for a dining chair when a parent has toddlers, or would you perhaps be better off picking something like a suede or a velvet because it's easy to clean? Those kind of fabrics, which fabrics are appropriate for what spaces and what lifestyles. And then we move on to level 2, which is building that strong brand, right? And I think this is where now Christine can tell us a thing or two about how she felt level 2, because I think she had she already knew she liked design, she likes colors, she likes walls and stuff. Christine, for you, when it came to building that strong brand, creating that logo, learning how to do invoicing, learning how to do a letter of agreement and contracts for clients, how did that really just change the game up for you? Perhaps you can take the time to explain that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the first time I learned this, I was amazed that there what do you call them? Like things to like invoicing apps that can really make you look so professional,
Yes.
and that just a logo can make you get a job. Like people take you more seriously. You can see
Yes.
my logo behind. I learned it from class. So
We love it. Please go check her out, Yaara Design Studio. Please, you can tell us your handle.
it's Yaara Design Studio or Tina. Like I have 2 accounts, Yaara Design Studio and Tina K. So you can find me on both Instagram and TikTok and YouTube as well. Yeah,
All
so
right.
I did it a lot, and I feel like I got more professional. Like when you send a client a professional invoice, oh my goodness. These even the negotiation becomes less. So I
Yes.
feel like I learned and people took me more seriously when I took
Yes.
my business seriously. So for me, that was actually branding was the best part of this course for me. Yeah.
Wow. You've said
It's
that
really made
before, so I
confident.
wanted you to say it again and even maybe just emphasize what do you think is so important about branding, right?
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
anyone who is an individual, a solo individual, what do you think that it is about branding that, that makes people feel, I think I can trust this person, or like they feel a little bit more at ease with your business when it's branded with that
Yeah.
logo or that invoice or that letter of agreement. Why do you think people need it, those who are trying to start a new business?
Well, I feel like people buy things from you because it's you. So you
Mhm.
yourself need to be that brand for your business. So
Okay.
when, I mean, like, however you portray yourself is how people will take you. So if you don't take it seriously and get people to see you professionally and get them to identify your business with yourself, it's
Yes.
very difficult for them to have that faith and trust to give their money to you and work with you. So I feel like you really need to put in a lot of effort and consistency when it comes to your business, just to look professional. And for faith, and for somebody just to think you're not somebody who will come today and disappear tomorrow. Yeah.
100%.
For me, branding is equals to faith. Branding is equal to confidence. Branding is equal to a sign of success for the client.
I love it. I love it. And I think also branding makes you memorable. Every
Yeah.
time you see like a Coca-Cola bottle, the colors of Coca-Cola, there's a way that you remember them. And also, if you have a logo that is plastered on the invoice, it's also on the letter of agreement. Every time you have to give documentation for fundis, maybe for example, you're giving them some guidance and you've printed something that has the logo, it just makes you consistent. We are being consistent with the brand here. And like you said, people do take you more seriously. I love when you said like the negotiations become less and less. This was something I too experienced firsthand, and it made me realize if I want to have people treat me, because in the beginning it was frustrating. Let's be honest. Our clients, sometimes our African clients can be the kind that, hey, why should I trust you? Why, like they can kind of give you a bit of a hard time. So you need to also show the reason you can trust me is, look, here I am, like without even your voice, without even, although your voice is also part of your brand, but even on paper, showing that person that, okay, we've had a conversation, we've agreed that I'm going to come over for a consultation service. Now here is an invoice following up that conversation, showing that, yes, let's take on the next move. And everything is tabulated there that we are going to do 4 rooms. And this is what you can also expect from me. So those are my deliverables. So what can you expect from me? You can expect that I will show up at the site. I will also come up with a design concept, and I will also do the project costing so that this is how much you should put aside to create your space. So it's very clear on the invoice. There is nothing that is left without clarity. So that makes the client also feel, I think I also don't want to spend my money, waste it on people on this project and not even know where it has gone. But with this kind of invoice that tells me, okay, 1, 2, 3, we are going to get this done within this time period, that makes me feel more confident as a client. That makes the client completely feel more at ease, parting with their money and paying you for their services.
Yeah.
Right?
Yani, can you imagine going to your client with a piece of paper? I don't know what picture that portrays. So
what do you mean?
I'm saying, like, instead of if you give your client a piece of paper, like you've written the services you're going to offer, and somebody else comes their invoice, surely between the two of you, who will be selected?
Like this.
Yeah, the way fund is right.
Yes, because what I teach in the course, guys, what Christine is talking about is the fact that in the class we actually do talk about let's just bring this to the stage. Yeah. So what we talk about is we really just show people how you can actually, so that is in this module here. Let's go to the next slide. Interior designer paperwork. You will learn the importance of branding, from your logo to your brand colors to your invoicing system to your letters of agreement. These are the things that we talk about in the course, just to make people understand the importance. So it's all part of the course. How you learn how to create that invoice, how to create that logo, how to create that brand, how to build that business that people will respect. That is all part of the the class. And so you're not leaving that class without surety of what is your next move. You're very clear. The next move is create your socials once you're done. In fact, the socials, we do that in the last week, right, Christine?
Yeah.
We create the socials in the last week because we've already done a couple mood boards by then, some bedroom mood boards, some living room mood boards. So you have some stuff to post, and then you now post that, and then now the next thing is as you're posting, as you're creating that relationship with people who might be coming across your content, by the time you're doing your 20th, your 30th posts, because now the problem is people like post twice and then they're like, nobody is calling me. No one is interested in my work. Nobody knows who you are. So you have to keep showing up consistently. Post for, I always say, challenge yourself and post for 30 days in a row. 30 days in a row, you know, and use the hooks that I will be giving in the social media management class. And if you don't get one person who comes to your DM and says, I can see that you guys do interior design services in this area, how much do you charge? Then you can let me know. We can try to help figure out a different strategy, because it is almost certain that you will get someone who might see something. If you're doing it the right way, you will get someone who will be interested after posting at least, I like to say, 1 month of posts consistently. And we learn about how to schedule those. So in case you're saying, hey, me, I don't have time every day to stand there and post a video or a post every day, you don't have to do it every day. We learn in the social media management class, which I actually will have a PDF down below on how you can join the wait list, on how you can schedule those posts, even a whole 30 days posts ahead of time, and how to create them on Canva in 1 day. You can sit down and create all your content in 1 day. We use ChatGPT. We make it super simple in the social media management class. So the moment the client is calling you for that consultation, more than likely, Christine, it's because they've seen your work and they are now interested in working with you. And that is when they say, I'm interested in working with you. What is the next move? So obviously they will tell you, then that's when you now get to tell them the services that you offer. And then you guys, once they're like, okay, so what's the next step? You say, okay, if you could kindly send me a message with your email address, I'll shoot you an invoice and we can get the ball rolling from there. The moment your client receives that invoice, the likelihood that they are going to call and say, they will call and ask for a negotiation or whatever. That there's a likelihood that that could happen. But what we are saying here with Christine is that they will probably do it from a place of respect. They will not be just like, what do you mean you people are charging X amount? As opposed to when you're having that conversation on the phone and saying, we charge da, 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 da. It will come from a place of respect, because they will see this is a whole business. They are sending me a whole business document called an invoice, because they are taking themselves seriously. I will do the same and take them seriously. And I will negotiate from a place of how, the same way I would go to a bank or, a clinic and ask, is there any way you guys can reduce the cost for me, or, in a respectful way. It's the same way I will also respect this business. Christine, do you feel that has happened to be the case for you? Because for me, I've done verbal conversations when it comes to charges, and I have done invoice conversations when it comes to charges as well, and seen a world of difference. I don't know about you.
I also did the Excel, the usual Excel conversations. Then I went to the professional way, and it's totally different. Totally different.
Yes.
Yeah.
The way they approach it, the way they feel is that it's more welcoming, And so what has been your experience now that you are an interior designer, design consultant, and you go to people's homes and you help them spruce up the spaces? How has that been for you in terms of income and in terms of fulfillment?
So I'll start with fulfillment. Honestly, it has put me on another level. I feel more confident, and I always feel so happy when my clients are happy. You see, like when you said you saw a client shed a tear. So for me,
Yes.
anytime a client is so grateful for what I did, I truly know I'm living my purpose. So for me, any interior design is one of the things that I can do and never get tired, in the sense that even when I feel exhausted, it is out of joy and it is out of something I love to do. So it's never a burden, and I feel fulfilled any day. And in terms of income, I have grown for sure. I have grown, I won't lie. I have gotten several loyal clients who pay well. Yes. Yeah. And I'm
So
glad.
would you say in comparison to, being employed, which is traditionally
Mm-hmm.
what we are wired to do when we leave school,
Mm-hmm.
versus running your own interior design business,
Mm-hmm.
would you say that you've seen, income wise, how does that compare?
I feel like being an entrepreneur has it has its perks. So you
Yes.
manage your time, you get your money and plan it the way. For me, it's more fulfilling. And I've always known I always wanted to do entrepreneurship. So I feel like I'm in the right space. So for me,
Awesome,
it's worth
awesome.
it.
Oh my gosh, great. I love it. For me as well, now that I haven't done a project in over a year, I miss it so much. I do. I honestly do. And I also miss the income. I won't lie. The advantages, if we're talking about income, because I know anyone who's watching and is interested in getting into this field might be wondering, what are the possibilities? Is there money in interior design? And what I always say, or is it overly saturated? Here's the thing. My response to that is, as long as when you wake up in the morning and you're driving to work, to school, just moving around, there's a possibility that you might see some kind of construction or development going on somewhere or going up somewhere. It means
Mhm.
there is still a need for interior design skills. And all you have to do is even sometimes approach them, especially those who are, I'm not even talking about the big developers, because the big developers, those contracts are drafted years even before the development starts going up. If you see a building going up in Kileleshwa, those are the kinds I'm talking. However, I'm talking about the individuals who are building their own homes on Kiambu Road, in Kitengela, in Athi River, in Ruiru, all those areas, those individuals who are building their own homes, there is absolutely nothing wrong. I had a student once who told me when she's driving, her name was Jessica. When she
Mhm.
drives, she will stop and she will actually go and ask, "Hey, now mnajenga, I can see you guys are building. Is there a chance that you guys who is the owner?" She want to find out who is the owner and who is the owner around. Can I perhaps sell my skills and say, "Hey, I'm here if in case you're looking for someone who can help you with picking the right materials, whether that be tiles, the interior finishes, the kind of colors you want to do for paints, or even down to the day we pick the area rug, the throw pillows, the piece of art on the wall, the cushions." That is what I do as an interior design. As an interior design consultant, I can be your partner. Like, I can walk with you in this journey so that you're not buying blindly, because sometimes when you're building, I don't know if that experience has been yours, or if you've seen someone. Personally, I've seen so many people who are building, and the levels of frustration they have stemming from money just pouring out of their pockets, down to, when is this thing going to finish? I don't care, I'm just going to buy all the tiles and everything. And the end, once it's done, you're looking at what you've done on the interiors, and it's like, it doesn't even match how the
Mhm.
house looks from the outside. From the outside, it looks like, oh my gosh, you built a
Mhm.
mansion. Then you go inside, and the bathroom tiles the, are the same ones, maybe in the living room, the same tiles. They were at the point where they just wanted it to finish this
Mhm.
project,
Mhm.
and then we just like, let it just be over. And the truth is, sometimes they even leave the job to the foreman, and
Yeah.
the kind of work that ends up getting done by the general contractors, in terms of choices for the tiles, for the faucets, and there's so many beautiful finishes. You and I have explored some on all over Nairobi, on Kijabe Street, in some of these beautiful stores with lighting fixtures. Beautiful, beautiful options. But the things that people pick when they are building, why they need us. So yes, the question is, the answer is yes, there's a need for interior design consultants. If you are interested in getting into that, I do recommend that you join my 4-week interior design masterclass, because it covers everything from the interior design skills down to as you can see, these are the modules outlined there. These are the ones I mentioned before that are in that first level one, gaining interior design skills. Then when it comes to building a strong brand, we have the interior design paperwork where you learn everything to do with building that personal brand. And then finally, we have the marketing your business, which is through social media, and that is carried on in the last module, which is setting up that interior design business. So I am so glad that we could have someone here who has gone through the class and who is now running their own interior design studio sit with us and tell us, and you know, we've had the chance that to hear from someone who's running their own interior design business that it is actually possible, because I met Christine in my November cohort 2022, and this is 2024 May, and you know, are we still running strong and
Yeah,
even
that's
stronger?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, what are your parting words when it comes to building that you know, how you feel about you know, having taken that interior design class, in terms of how you felt empowered, in terms of running your business, and in terms of what you expect and what you're hoping will happen in the future when it comes to Yaara Design Studio?
So for me, what I would say is success is always on the other side of fear. So fear, but do it anyway. So in case you want to do whatever it is, you don't have to have all the answers. Just take the first leap of faith. And as I said, when the student is ready, the teacher will always appear. You'll always find your steps on the way up. The point is just to start so that you don't regret later. And for Yaara Design Studio, I look forward to more partnerships, more clientele, like I want to grow to bigger commercial spaces. I want to partner with other service providers, like the bigger architects. I go international. So that's the dream I have for Yaara Design Studio, because my logo is a butterfly that is always growing. So that's why I called myself Yaara. Yaara means a small butterfly that is blooming into something big and beautiful.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's the reason why every time I see that logo, I know I'm blooming into something bigger. And I'm looking forward to getting more international calls, and I know I'll get there. I'll come back and give the testimonies for sure.
Oh my God, awesome, awesome. And in fact, there's an extra module that I feel like because you know, with the best part about being part of the community is I'm working on this content that should be coming up. And part of it is how to actually place yourself as a freelancer on website platforms such as Fiverr, Upwork, freelancer.com. There are so many platforms where you can put yourself out there as a design
Mhm.
consultant, and all you have to do is put out some of your work there. It's like a portfolio. You know, you
Mhm.
put your work there, and then potential people who are looking, potential clients who are
Mhm.
looking for, you know, someone who might be able to give them a mood board, a design concept, help them with shopping, even online, whether
Mhm.
that is from Amazon or IKEA. You can kind of be able to, you know, it's easy because it's online, and all you have to do is enter that website. If you're looking for a particular type of lamp, attach it to the PDF you're sending them,
Yeah.
and show them this
Mhm.
is the exact lamp I am recommending you buy, and it ships to them. So,
Mhm.
you know, the freelance work is good because you could make that extra money. Sometimes it's tough when you are running physical projects, but from what I'm seeing with our economy, you know, our designers might need to actually place themselves on other platforms other than the depending on just local projects. So I just want to thank you so much, Christine, for having enrolled into my interior design in decor masterclass. It's been such a joy, such a pleasure to get to know you, to guide
Mhm.
you, and to hold your hand in the areas where you needed help that I could have helped. because once you identify that spark in someone, you just want to see it keep on blooming like the Yaara butterfly. So I definitely saw in you so much. You yourself have inspired me. You are the MVP of entrepreneurship. I remember when we met and you were telling us about the Airbnb arbitrage business, and I just got my mind was just blown. I love that you constantly put yourself out there, and you're constantly trying to put yourself out there even more and more. And speaking of which, even as we part, I just
Mhm.
want you to tell us what you're working on
Mhm.
behind the scenes. You have some stuff that's brewing
Yeah.
behind the scenes. You don't have to give us all the details, but perhaps you can tell people where they can follow you, and just so that they can see the development of this stuff you're working on behind the scenes as it's coming into place. They'll see it when you launch.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I have a passion for women. So I'm currently looking into going into coaching specifically for women's self-awareness and empowerment. So that's what I'm working on currently. You'll see me very soon as I help women like me to just walk through that journey and discover themselves and be more self-aware and find freedom, peace of mind, joy in now, and laughter all the way.
I love it. Thank you so much, Christine, for being here. I appreciate you. Please follow Christine at
Yaara Design Studio and Tina Kwamboka.
All right, I will be sharing the links, guys. If you've been watched until the end, we thank you so much for being here for this 1 hour podcast. If you're enjoying the impact on social channel, please support by just sharing this with someone else who might be interested in joining in that entrepreneurship journey. And if you're interested in more details about how you can get some more information about the interior design in the core masterclass for my upcoming enrollment this June, please click the link in the bio below, in the show notes below, and it will direct you to some free resources that I have for you as well, just some free information, some free guides. And I want to know more about what it is that you guys want to watch on this channel. If this is a nice segment you're enjoying, this is our first episode, season 3 of Impact on Social. So thank you so much, Yaara Design Studio, Christine, for being here. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I have, and thank you so much for inviting me to be your first guest. And I'm grateful that I got to know you and that you crossed my path, because indeed you have been a blessing in my life.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you so much. You have as well and an inspiration. Until the next one, guys, we will see you next time. If you want Christine to come back on the channel, also comment down there and let us know. Bye, guys.
Bye.